That's a good lead in. All right. I love you. That's what Jack said right before we started the recording. That's good. Yo! It is another edition of the Hiles Podcast. I guess, they won today. That was certainly felt when that ball left the bat against Kimbrel, like it was like, oh, so it's going to be like this, huh? Yeah. It's like we can't even just, and look, overall, my overall thought is like, teams lose 4 or 5 in a row in July. Like, it's not the end of the world. The teams the Phillies are competing with have been, the Marlins have lost 8 in a row until they won today. Like, I think the Diamondbacks got swept, Giants got swept. So, the sky's not falling, but could we play a little better baseball, please? Could we hit the ball every once in a while? I don't know, out of the ballpark. What a crazy thought. Who would have thunk that this series in Cleveland, that by far the single thing that we could count on the most, like the number one, that's lockdown, was Bryce Harper's defense at first base. What's going on, Jack? How you doing, buddy?
So I'm just letting you know and letting our entire listening audience know that I needed that game about as much as I needed them to win Game 5 last year in the NLCS. It was that serious of a game. It was because I know that there's other teams playing bad baseball right now, but and listen, no one's better at spinning anything into a positive when it comes to the Phillies, like us. No one in the business can spin positive like you and I.
Yeah, you in particular.
It is just so I can put on a brave face and say,
paint the smile on, no problem,
and say, listen. Losing 4 games in a row happens all the time. 5 straight, whatever. It's July. It is just freaking torture to go through. And what they put us through, especially today, where it's they get an early lead. Of course, they can't put it away. They have to only score a run.
They also go down early and then have to fight back.
Well, but even in the first inning, the pitcher's on the ropes.
They get the one, but then they go down 3-1, and you're like, of course. And then they have to battle back. They're always behind. It feels like at some point in every baseball game.
It's the new 2023 Phillies bit where it's hey, we're gonna go down by at least 3. And let's see.
It's usually 3. It feels like it's a 3-run deficit at some point, always.
But and then and I'm not a blame the announcers guy, but were T-Mac and Ruben trying to blow the game today?
I know.
Not only was it the let's have a fun plane ride home, a second before the Fry home run, but then in as Marte's coming in because Jeff Hoffman, because God forbid you're a freaking big leaguer and just can come in and throw strikes. It's Josh Naylor, Bo Naylor leading the game off, or leading up the whatever 10th. He's got a 192 batting average, and we can't throw a freaking strike. It's just I can't compute it. And then they're talking about how this is going to be a great win. And it's can we just win the freaking game? So I was very locked in. I let out, and then again, I'm sitting up here. I am outside Lake Saranac.
Look at you, big Lake Saranac guy up there.
My 63-year-old
outdoorsman.
My 63-year-old father-in-law is running an Ironman right now, but what I just went through with the Phillies was much more challenging. Especially this weekend. Sure. He had to swim.
Your 63-year-old father's a psychotic person. Yes, a psycho. Ironmans are insane, dude.
Yeah.
I could not complete 1/3 of any of the challenges, less 1/6 of any of the 3 portions of the race. Come on.
Well, and let me just lay the scene.
I could maybe walk 10 miles. I certainly couldn't run 26. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. So let me lay the scene for you here. So it's me, who I assume that most people listening to this podcast know me. You know,
It'd be weird if they didn't, buddy. It'd be
I would
real
hope
weird.
so.
Yeah.
That like
You're feeling one right now. This is good. I like this.
you have like, James. I promise you, you have no idea the mental strain that game put on me. Like I needed to win so bad. Like I was in such a dark spot. I was like, can't wait for this whole core to be out of here. Like I'm ready for a new baseball team. But like, all right. So my 63-year-old father-in-law is running a marathon or running an Ironman. My brother-in-law, who is a ex-football player, like pretty in good shape guy, and I'm just sitting here like watching the Phillies
like
every night,
watching a baseball game.
Meanwhile, this morning they left at like 4:30. They did a 2-mile swim to start this whole thing off, and then they had a 112-mile bike ride, and then currently right now they're running a full marathon. It's just like it doesn't compute. But I watched Craig Gamble both close first save as a Philly. So
yeah, so it's same thing.
Who's had a tougher day?
I mean, if you really want to. Similar thing. I will. Let's go back to the announcers because I'm right there with you.
Thank you.
Especially just like Ruben. I mean, Tom, love you guys. Like, also, what are we doing talking about this being a great win? This was like had to have it nice. Thank God we didn't get swept in Cleveland win. It wasn't like, yay, best game of the season. It's amazing. I will not forget where I was when they salvaged a series, not getting swept in Cleveland that one time, coming from behind. What a thrill ride. I mean, it wasn't like it was like the greatest game we'd ever seen. If the Indians had hit a walk-off grand slam, they could have said what an amazing win that was. But
wow. And
Jose Ramirez at the plate with the bases loaded, I definitely thought he was hitting a walk-off grand slam. I was like, if I had to bet, I would have bet on a walk-off grand slam.
Well, and of course, like he hit it off the end of the bat, but in my fragile state that I'm in, I was like, oh great, that's what, 4 rows deep, and I think Castellanos was
fragile state.
Well, and like Cassie's been great in the field this year, and even though I do not appreciate the return of 2022 Castellanos at the plate at all, by the way, like can we, like, believe it or not. Believe it or not, didn't miss that guy at all.
Not cool. I actively disliked him. So yeah.
I thought that there would have been nothing, and I mean nothing more classic than that ball falling in. Like Casty thinking that ball is like 6 rows deep in right field.
Mean like it fell in yesterday, Jack?
I didn't want to bring it up, but. Dude, it was like the series out there was the most like
infuriating.
It was infuriating, but it was one of those put some hair on your chest Phillies season or Phillies series.
It was like things have been going too well. It's like, hold up, guys. All right, like get your head out of the sky. All right, it was like what it was like. It was like that Cubs series coming out of the All-Star break last year.
Yeah,
where it's just like
or the Cubs series in September.
We're in September. We're all jacked up. We're like, we got a really good baseball team. Yeah, let's go, boys. And then it's like, oh no, you're gonna go face the Cleveland and Guardians, and they're just gonna like. You're not gonna be able to hit all of a sudden. You're gonna drop the ball. You're gonna lose a 1-0 game where the 1-run scores and a ball that drops between 3 fielders. Like, it's just like, yeah, of course. I'm shocked they won today. To be honest,
I know.
I'm like floored that they won that baseball game today.
Yeah, well, and speaking of like things I don't appreciate on the TV broadcast,
More complaints. I like this. This is good. Just complain about the broadcast. This is good. You got anything about Fransky after too? Soccer Fransky thoughts now? Just what do you got?
Well, in true sicko mode, I was listening. So that was a good. Jill and I were hiking up like a mountain today with Walk, and
Jack's a big hike guy. For those who know.
Yeah,
big
but
outdoor, loves to hike. I'm not, and it's funny because it's almost like I'm saying this in a voice where like it sounds like I'm joking. I'm not. Like Jack loves to hike. It is like one of his favorite things.
I like being outside. If there's one thing I like looking at more than Phillies baseball, it is rivers. So I'm a big rivers guy.
Much more of, you're more of an outdoorsman. I'm more of an indoorsman.
Yeah. Well, you live in South Philly, at this point.
You know what my perfect day is? One where I don't walk out the door.
That's inspiring. Way to move the body.
What a freaking dream.
That sounds like a great time. But in true sicko fashion, we were coming down because we were working our way up, but it was getting too steep and it just rained and it was slippery and like I didn't feel like losing Walker. So we're like
good goal to have, and that's
I was like, can we just, for my own sanity, just turn around? So we turned around. And on the way down, it's like 140. I was like, listen, we're probably like 20 minutes from the car. I put on Fransky and Stalker for the walk down. And like, I had these people walking past, like, what is wrong with you, man? Like they're learning about like Bryson Stott at the plate. But yes, my broadcast gripe is that I don't appreciate having to have the stats thrown in my face of what a guy has done with runners in scoring position with less than 2 outs or 2 outs or more, because hey, stats graphics person, I've lived it, pal. Like, I know there, and everyone, like the MLB average is like 53%. I swear to God, James, every Philly's 42%. Like they are all 42% when it comes to 2 outs in runners scoring position. It's like, I don't need to be reminded of what this season has been, because essentially, like, I think the story of the season has just been so many missed opportunities. Like, they're a much better ball club than what their record is. And, like, even, like, the 4-game losing streak that easily could have turned into 5, they could have won every game. Like, I think today I think today was the one where it was like, they probably didn't deserve to win this. Like, Jose Ramirez let a ball go off his glove. Bryce, like, didn't run to first base in a weird play that, like...
What? It was so weird. I thought it was foul.
I thought he thought it was foul.
Yeah. I think we all did.
Yeah.
And like... Though? Shout out to Schwarber on that play, because Schwarber played it out the right way, and Schwarber busted it to first there. Schwarber looked quick. I know. Schwarber was like, you know when you're like, and this is, no, I'm not saying Schwarber's fat, but that like classic fat guy, but with the little legs that run really quickly. He had that kind of thing going on. It was good.
Well, yeah.
I just said, I'm not going to call Schwarber fat, but I'm going to make an analogy about a fat guy running and say that was Schwarber. I didn't call him fat.
Well, what's next? You're going to put the Benny Hill music behind him?
How many plays this season can we put the Benny Hill? Like, if we made a montage of Benny Hill-worthy plays of Schwarber this season between swings and defensive plays and whatever, I'm sure it would be a pretty freaking long Benny Hill montage. So.
Yeah. But what's so funny is, like, you put Bryce at first for 2 games. You get Schwarber out of left field, and
he's
bang,
flying around.
He's
also, the one
beating out grounders.
Play in left field yesterday too. That was a really nice dive and play he made.
No, I literally had written in my take bag. I was like, of course, the second that Harper can play first, Schwarber figures out how to play left.
Flying around left field. All right, let's get to some stuff, because you do have to go out and welcome in your much more capable
tougher.
As a human, tougher, whatever you want to say, stepfather.
Well, I mean, I don't think he's gonna be done for like 5 hours.
Father-in-law, I should say. Yeah, exactly. Good. Well, that's great. Good.
Well, it's a grind. It's a full. Dude,
you think?
It's a full. Grind? And you know what the worst part is, Seltzer?
What?
Is they can't listen to anything. So like they can't have their phones.
Oh, that's a disaster. Like I would never do this.
Dude, imagine being stuck in your own thoughts for like he was hoping
honestly,
to get done.
I'm trying to think of things that I would do. Like I'd rather sit in a room by myself with nothing but something I can stick in my ears for the entire time it took them to do all that than to do 1 mile of a run.
Dude,
personally.
He was saying last night, he's like, yeah, I hope I get it done in 17 hours.
Oh my God. What is
like? I was like, are you serious? Yeah.
All right, let's get some stuff because it won't be long tonight either way. All right, let's talk Harper. He was amazing. He's like, I mean, what the hell? Like throwing the body around like Bryce. Like especially that was like such a classic. Like sometimes you see guys run in the stands. You're like, all right, I get it. Their momentum carry over. He like dove into that little area, like was basically like horizontal at one point. It's like, Bryce, that wasn't even like trying to protect your body. That was almost just like, I'm just gonna like throw my body willy-nilly. Like, regardless. I mean, it did feel like for, 2 games, it found like the ball found him 8,000 times in 2 games. Obviously, he's getting thrown over that way, but I'm talking like off the bat. It felt like it had a normal amount of plays, but I mean, crazy to say their best first baseman in a decade or whatever. I mean, 20 years. I don't know. How much better is he than Hoskins or Hall or any of these freaking bums we've seen over there? Like in 2 games, he's like light years better than these guys.
Dude, when he made a couple of those diving plays today, I was like, because my whole attitude heading into it, James, was like, I just think he's gonna be fine there. Like, he is just such like
he's athletic and he's a baseball nerd.
And he's just like that guy. You know what I mean? And it's like, so he's making the diving plays today. And I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, of course he is. Of course he's like turning into what, Rico Bronya? Follow that one away from the grid.
Buddy.
But it's just like, he just goes over there. He's perfectly fine. Like they even execute like a bunt play towards first base.
Yeah,
it's like it takes years, man.
Yeah,
like, do you know how long it? Yeah. Do you know how long it takes to get on like that kind of comfortability with someone else over there? Like, and it's just so. On one hand, it's like, yeah, that's obviously incredible, and it does show the athleticism of playing first base, but
well, especially also because like normally it's like your lumbering guys who play first base. Like Bryce Harper is probably in like the high percentile of athletic people who end up at first base. You know what I mean?
Well, dude, Dombrowski last week said he's the best throwing first baseman in baseball. It's like, can I see him play first?
Dude, wasn't his arm falling off like 6 months ago? What is going on right now? Right.
But I think at some point it's like, hey, look, I think Reese and Ryan Howard and all these guys are great guys, but it's like, how does that guy learn the position in a month? You guys have been doing this in your entire life.
And he's light years better.
And he's already one of the 3 best defensive first basemen. I think like Carlos Santana,
Rico Bronya, and that's it.
Like I forget, was Travis Lee a good defensive first baseman?
Travis Lee was pretty decent. Like he wasn't. I don't remember him being great, but he might have been great. I feel like Travis Lee could have been great. I think he was solid. Rico was a freaking wizard out there.
Yeah, it's just like it's listen, and it's gonna help this team so much. I mean, I don't believe it or not, don't think Jake Cave's the answer in left field.
No.
So wait, are you telling me that a guy can have a 1,300 OPS in AAA and might not be a big league player? Is that what I didn't think that was possible.
When you're 30, buddy, and having that 30-year-old with a 1,300 OPS in AAA, a lot less impressive than a 20-year-old,
top prospect,
23-year-old, a 26-year-old, even. Yeah, dude, Jake Cave clearly not the answer. It opens it up completely. It gives him so many more options. And look, honestly, like I do think that it could be the best thing for his career to stay there long term. Like if he's this good at it, this quick, how good could he become in it? And he's like a good right fielder, but he's not an elite right fielder. He's never been like one of the best in baseball or whatever. So I don't know. It's much less pounding on his body over the years to play there, you would think, like in terms of the throwing and all that stuff. So
well, let me just say
the bat plays at first long term.
Yeah, let me just say this. I have now seen Bryce Harper play for 2 games at first base. I'm not prepared to have another first baseman.
Yeah, I think it's it, right? I think so. He's got what? So 2019, 2021, 22. So he's got 8 years left after this. Like, I don't ever want to see him play. The next 8 years of Bryce Harper's career, you're a first baseman, pal. Congrats.
Now, the thing about that is that they're not going to bring back Reese unless they want to put.
But I didn't think they were going to anyway. I know we.
Yeah, but I felt like they were kind of maybe thinking about it.
We want them to.
Obviously,
dude, man. Like, let's freaking bring Juan Soto here or whatever. Like, let's freaking go win the freaking World Series, boys. I will say to your point from before, like Dave, John, our people in charge. Maybe cool it with the hyperbole. Like, you don't need to say Bryce is the best throwing first baseman in baseball. Like, rein it in. don't set those expectations. Like, if we only win one World Series, that'd be a disappointment. We don't need to say that. Yeah, I love it. We don't need to say that.
Maybe
Um,
win one. Maybe
maybe
win one.
maybe win one. Maybe win one.
Maybe let's
Win
see
one.
Bryce throw
And then
before
be
we're
like, you know
yeah.
what? We should win more than one. Sure. Good call. Like, yeah, win one. All right. Let's just do like we'll get to the take back in a sec, but anything else from the series that sticks out to you before we move on to specific take back stuff? Because I know we have a ton of time, so I may as well.
Two like starters thought I guess three. I think that the time off for Zach Wheeler has just paid massive dividends. Like, by the way, proper use of dividends. I just want that for the record.
Proud of yourself? That was proper. That was
Thank you.
absolutely proper. I'm really proud of you, buddy.
Zach Wheeler looks phenomenal.
It
just
was
absolutely
not proper last time.
It was 100% not proper. It wasn't even close. I think Zach Wheeler looks unbelievable. And the fastball, like he has been hitting 97, 98 at points this year, but the zip wasn't there. The zip's there. And, last night I thought 7th, 8th, he was clearly just like curveball's not getting over, sweeper's not getting over. I only have a fastball left. And the fact that he only had that pitch left and was still able to get through those portions of the order, I thought was really, really impressive. So I think Zach Wheeler he just looks phenomenal. And I think that time off that they did with him has it could have saved the season, because I think you have like legitimately ace level Zach Wheeler back, which I was not sure they were getting. I thought Nola was mostly fine today. I thought he got into a groove after early in the game, and it really there's been too many
take a 1-0 lead in the first inning, and him giving up and I know it was like off the top of the wall and all that, but him giving up a home run to the first batter out, it's just so he's becoming a cliche. It feels like it's just like, of course, yep. And you're right. Like, what did he give him 7? Did he end up going 7 today? Right?
Yeah.
It's like 7-3 is like solid. Like, that's fine, especially after getting him the 3 early. Like, he settles in, but it's frustrating.
Well, there's just been the issue with the starting staff right now is that it's like, okay, it's been too much battling. You know what I mean? Like, all those guys have just been like battling, but it hasn't been shut down. And in June, it was a lot of shutdown, and they just haven't totally had that. Besides Wheeler last night, so Nola, again, it's kind of been my whole mentality with him the whole year. It's like, yeah, he was fine, still not totally difference making right now, but taking down 7 innings is valuable. And then Ranger, I'm starting to waver a little bit in my total confidence in Ranger to figure it out, because I just feel like all of his stuff looks flat right now, and I hope it's a little bit of dead arm, and I hope it's just like a bit of a weird stretch in the schedule for him, because he didn't have a spring training and he came back, whatever. But man, it hasn't been crisp, and for a guy that has been so command oriented, it just hasn't had great command at all of any of his pitches, it feels like. So he looks really hittable, hasn't gotten into a roll. It feels like he hasn't gone on like a classic Ranger rhythm start. It feels like he's just kind of fighting himself all throughout. So I thought obviously Ranger in June was a massive revelation, but man, like, you're starting to realize the value of, one, trading for a star at the deadline, and the value in getting Wheeler and Nola as much fast as possible, because I think those are the guys that you're going to have to ride to a playoff run, and I don't know if Ranger's in that category yet.
Yeah, well, we hope. Look, we know we could trust him from a blood pressure in the moment standpoint and all that type of stuff, which is incredibly important. I'm not, look, I still have a lot of faith in him, but you raise valid concerns, obviously, but we've seen guys, especially Ranger, go through some ups and downs throughout a season and ultimately get to where he needs to be. So hopefully that's what's going to happen. And, ultimately, I still think, like, flipping it to the offense. As much as the idea of trading for a starter is important. And by the way, Christopher Sanchez has been really good. Like, Christopher Sanchez has yet to really struggle since being given that fifth starter role, at least from an earned runs perspective and all that. But I go into the deadline, and we'll do our, next Sunday or whatever, our deadline, our perfect deadline pod and all that stuff. But like, I just don't know how you don't go into this and say like, I need some freaking pop in this lineup, man. I need some freaking pop in this lineup.
Yeah, which is, I mean, semi-embarrassing, frankly. I mean, just like, I mean,
Brandon Marsh. Brandon Marsh, the only guy who has an OPS over 800 in this lineup. I haven't seen what happened after today. Maybe it changed. They were coming in today. Brandon Marsh, the only player on the freaking team with an OPS over 800. Are you serious? Is that like a real freaking thing? That's insane, dude. It's embarrassing.
while the Braves have 5, I believe.
Like, it's like a murderer's row in that lineup. Like, this is asinine. We've got dudes, man. They've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys making $20 million or more. This year in their lineup, 5 guys making $20 million or more, and none of them have an OPS over 800. Like, that's tough.
Yeah, well, and especially in a game like last night. Like, listen, I know Bibby's good or whatever.
He was better than I expected. Dude has some stuff.
Yeah, I was not surprised by Gavin, and I think if Gavin went another inning, I thought they would have gotten to him because he kind of lost it. But it's just like it's been the story of the season. The story of the season is that they can't make pitchers pay, and they can't hit the ball at the ballpark. And that's been incredibly frustrating given the amount of money that they have invested in this team. And it's like, you know, Schwarber, whatever. Turner, it's, you know.
What a disaster, dude. I know,
but he's like
the one today, but it almost even felt like the outfielder got a bad read on it or whatever. Like, it wasn't, I know it ended up, was a double, I think it was a triple, but.
Triple.
He's just, I mean,
it just, it's not, there's no impact.
Those at bats yesterday in big spots, like the strikeout with the bases loaded. I mean, it's like he's flailing up. He feels, I know people say it because it's like the most obvious comparison because it's last year or this year, but it really does look like Castellanos last year at times where he goes up there and he's just kind of, it doesn't have any idea what's coming and it's just flailing and stuff, you know?
Well, it's just, again, I have no idea how you are this far into your big league career. And it's just, it's like, oh, I can throw a slider 58 feet and he's going to swing at it. And it's like, it's a lot of like 1-for-4s with a strikeout. You know what I mean? Where it's not like, oh, here's a double, a single, a stolen base, you know, and I don't need a bunch of home runs from Trey Turner. I need a couple hits, a couple stolen bases, and like putting pressure on defenses. It's just been so, it's been so lack of impacty from Trey Turner. Sure, he's had some hits against, you know, the home run against the Diamondbacks. He's had some RBI chances, but it's like for impacting an entire game, the value of Trey Turner and why you paid him $300 million was he's going to hit close to 300. He's going to steal a ton of bags. He's going to put pressure on defenses, and he can hit you 20 in a ballpark like Citizens Bank Park, and it's just not been there. Castellanos, you have. I mean, it's hard not to have the fear that he's reverting back to 2022 Castellanos. I mean, his batting average is down to like 281.
Yeah, he was like over 300 all year, and it's like in a week, it's like down to 280. It's like, whoa.
And he's chasing all the time, and he looked at 90.
He looks like last year.
96 down the middle in extra innings today. Harper, I think, has been fine. You know, I think that I can't like crush Bryce because he's coming back from frickin' Tommy John and learning how to play first base. Like, sure, would I love more power? Yeah, and I think it's absolutely necessary. But I can't sit here and like complain about Bryce because I think he's working his way back from something. JT has been just dreadful, and I keep waiting for JT to come out of the, like, because it was around this time last year. So, well, it's actually not. It's 10 days past now, but it was at this time last year when he had the Blue Jay series, which was, I believe, July 13th to the 15th or something like that. And after that, he was the MVP of the team. I keep waiting for that, but he's just so unclutched at the moment at the play right now. And like, I anticipate a double play coming rather than something good. Bowman Stoddard really good mostly. I mean, Bohm obviously want more power, but had that. I mean, The guy's got like almost 60 RBI, batting 7th most of the year, so I can't crush him for that. And Stott is Stott. So, when Thompson talked post game last night, I actually so I didn't hear him say it, but I thought the quotes were important. I thought it was important the way that he was like 1 through 5 has to start producing, because you can make whatever trade you want at the deadline. And outside of like a Juan Soto, Goldschmidt, whatever, they're only going to go on a run if their 1 through 5 are great. And the fact that he kind of finally was like putting the pressure on them, and to his credit, changed the lineup around today, and starts to put turn the fire up a little bit on those guys. Stuff matters. And it's stuff that like great managers they can't just sit back and be like, it'll all work out. You gotta have a little bit of fuel in the ball club. And I like that last night he took the moment to be like, listen, these guys have to be better. And I think it goes a long way in the clubhouse. And sure, those guys know they need to be better. They're not going out there looking to suck. But I think putting it on them and being like, you guys got to be better, I hope that it results in those guys kind of carrying the ball club for a little bit, because it feels like for a majority of this year, it's been the starting staff, it's been the bullpen. And as we head into August, with 19 home games and an easier schedule, this is time for the offense to like find its rhythm and just start crushing folks.
Yeah, I mean, it has to. Like, they're not going anywhere without those top 5 guys. I mean, they're everything. Again, I said they got 5 dudes making 20 mil or more a year in the starting lineup. It's those 5 guys. Like, boom, there we go. It's pretty simple. You're not going to win if that $100 million worth of 100 plus, 115, whatever it is, $1 million worth of money comes up small for you. Like, that's just it. All right, take bag. As we've already gone over the time that we said we would go, which is. We're all right. We're good.
Right.
No, I know. You're an Iron Man. I gotta, it's always
one
tough.
of us is doing something tough today.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, sure, he's doing an Iron Man, but try talking about the Phillies for 30 plus minutes. Tell me the real tough guys.
It's way tougher.
It was nice seeing Reese on the road. I had a 1, 2, or 3. I think we could have made a bigger deal out of it, but whatever. They came back today and won.
I agree with you.
But still, it's good to see him back on the road, and hopefully, can be someone that those guys can lean on and say, hey, we need a leader right now, whatever. Things have just felt weird since the Harper at bat. I don't know.
So weird.
Like everything's felt kind of off since Harper decided to completely tank in at bat for no reason.
I hadn't put it together, but you're right. Ever since then, it's been weird.
Everything just seems a little tight. You know what I mean?
Oh, by the way, the Painter thing, we didn't mention that news has happened since then, too, which, isn't surprising. I think if, I was pretty confident at some point Tommy John was coming. People are getting mad at the team saying, oh, you should have got it right away. And it's like, look, I understand them not getting it right away. It's a 19-year-old kid. You want to try and avoid it. I get it. But, it is what it is.
It is what it is. You can't force someone to get surgery. I'm sorry, it
is what it is, especially at that age.
And listen, if he makes his debut at 21, it's still a really good outcome.
It's still amazing. Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
All right, yeah, the Bryson bat was weird. We know
Bryson bat was weird.
The weirdest thing is that, for someone who's come here and from the moment he got here said every right thing, I'd boo me, and the opening press conference and every opportunity he's gotten, he said all the right things and been Mr. Philadelphia and Mr. Team and Mr. Perfect. It's like the weirdest part about this whole thing is that he hasn't talked about it. That's the weirdest thing, is that he's not getting up and saying, hey, listen, here's what happened. It's weird.
Yeah.
The whole thing's weird. And you're right. The vibes changed, it feels like.
Everything's been kind of off since that moment. I just want to be giddy about Stott for 1 second. Mm-hmm. Not only at the plate, but how about the fact that he knows the rules better than the umpire?
I know.
Late in the game.
That was great.
And then it's not significant, but stealing the base and leading to a 2 RBI single by Alec Bohm. He had 3 stolen bases today, did Bryson Stott. It's just I fight back mostly against the Utley stuff because I don't think it's fair to compare like Bryce's stat to a guy who I think should be in the Hall of Fame and like my favorite Philly of all time. But that little stuff, like it's very rare. It's very rare that we get a really smart baseball player, and he's just like he's so smart. He knows what to do. He's so instinctive, and the play last night in the outfield stunk, but I also think that's obviously an outfielder's ball. I mean, it's always an outfielder's ball.
Agree.
And he was waiting for someone to call him off.
Better angle. Of course, it's an outfielder's ball. Kidding? You can see it the whole time. He's running backwards, essentially. Like, I'm right there with you. He's he's a really fun guy to watch play. It's like Utley-esque. Like, you're right. It's not Utley, and it's unfair. And he probably will never be Utley because Utley's a Hall of Famer. But he does have Utley vibes with that. The way he, like the baseball rat, the knowing the game, the making smart decisions, the smart at bats, the smart approaches, all that stuff.
Well, and the thing that I keep thinking about with Bryson is like he's this right now, his second full year in the big leagues, where he's batting over 300, having clutch moments.
What could he be?
What's he going to be in 5 years? I mean, what does a 29-year-old Bryson Stott look like? Is it 330? Is it, again, like the ceiling on Bryson is super, super high. And there was a thought tonight that I had while watching the game is he the second best player on the Phillies? Like the second best offensive player in the Phillies? I think Bryce is the best. Is Bryson Stott the second best offensive player in the Phillies?
Yeah, I mean, Castellanos
position player.
First part of the season was Castellanos, but like if I had to like putting it this way, if I had to like have someone go up to get a hit to save my life, I would go Harper 1, Stott 2. Yes.
I think he's elevated himself to that status, and it's not that the other guys are bums.
Second guy that I would choose to save my life with it, without a doubt.
And in a team of stars that you hope start playing like it, it's impressive that a second-year kid with not super high expectations is, I think, the second best player in the Phillies, or second best position player. Position player on the Phillies. This Orioles series is going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Oh, sure. Is fun the word?
Yeah. The last time I think they played the Orioles at home was when, remember the pop-up that Hector Neris was on the mound for?
Oh, my God. I know that was in Baltimore, I think, wasn't it?
No, it was here. It was 100%
Was it?
here.
Okay,
yes.
well then, yeah, that I remember that. That's
yeah. It sucked, dude.
And that was when the Orioles weren't even good. Now the Orioles are like the best team in baseball. No big deal. Them and the Braves or whatever.
Yeah, they are.
Braves Orioles World Series, and we all cry.
They are. The O's are awesome. So it's gonna be it's one of those series where it's like, yeah, like, dude, since Adley Rutschman got brought up, they haven't been swept in a series.
It's unbelievable. I mean, they passed the Rays. We all remember the Rays start, and they were 13-0, and this and that. Oh, the Rays clinched the AL East. Nope, they didn't. The Orioles are in first place, or were at least.
Yeah. Well, like we always say, don't overreact to April baseball.
That's what we always say. Yeah.
No one's better at not doing that than us. Rutschman does remind me a ton of Buster Posey, though. Same kind of player.
Yeah.
The bone play in bottom eighth was where the ball hit off the pitcher.
Yeah, it was great.
That never works out for us, right? I mean,
never. And how about and I mean a nice stretch by Harper too on that.
Yeah.
That good.
Never happens. It never happens. How I felt about this series and really how they've played even the Brewer series, which was annoying. They just kind of look like they're pressing heading into the deadline. Like, I think this is a team that needs a deadline to happen as soon as possible. Like, and like they took off last year because I think in part the deadline was over and like they knew who their team was and it was go time. Like, they look like a team that needs to know who their team is because like they just look like such a pressing team right now. So the deadline is 2 Tuesdays from now, and I don't think it come fast enough for this team. I think they needed to get here.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good point.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. They really need Sir Anthony and Alvarado. Shocking.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Jeff Hoffman. Hey, listen, Junior Marte did his thing. That's good.
They got into Marte was big. That was important. But yeah, Hoffman.
It did help that Jose Ramirez is swinging it. Jose Ramirez is swinging it ball 4 and whatever. But still, yes, Junior Marte did his thing.
Yeah. All right. What else you got? You got anything else?
Yeah, I guess my final thoughts.
Yes.
Now you are the movie guy of the are you going to go see Oppenheimer, or are you?
I will at some point. I don't, you know me, I'm not going opening weekend.
I know, but that, I feel like it's the biggest movie in years.
It is. I should have. Well, Oppenheimer's and Barbie made more money. Barbie.
Yeah, but I am not watching Barbie.
Oh, I'm way more excited for Barbie than I am for Oppenheimer. Way more excited. I'm excited for both, but I mean, Barbie's gonna be awesome.
All right, now, see where I'm disappointed in you, which is what I often feel.
Yes.
Is like you're Mr. Oscars and movie guy.
Yeah,
and
I
like
think Barbara's Greta Gerwig. I'm excited by Barbie because of her because of the director.
You're not
movie enough for you.
You're doing this thing where you're not letting me finish my point.
Go ahead. Good point. Good point. Go ahead. That's true. No,
where like you're Captain Oscars, you're Mr. Movie guy. Like you watch just. I mean, you're supposed to go see both. That's like the new thing on social media. Like that's what everyone's doing. Is they're going to knock out both in the same day. Why don't you be that guy?
I should. You know what's funny is that honestly, like, Mission Impossible is the movie in movie theaters I want to see the most anyway. The Mission Impossible movies are the best. The best.
I think
best franchise out there right now is Mission Impossible. That and John Wick, two best.
If I never set foot in a movie theater ever again, I think I'd be perfectly happy.
It's a really tough beat for you, buddy.
I
really
don't.
Sad.
Well,
that makes me sad to hear that. It breaks my heart.
They do nothing for me, frankly.
I love a movie theater.
There hasn't been a good movie
wait
since.
To go to the movie theater. Since I've got.
Hold on, you can't do this bull crap that. Oh, I can't wait to go to the movie theater, but you're not going to go see Barbie and Oppenheimer.
It's because I had to work yesterday. I did a radio show. I was in AC for a radio show on Friday. Like I want to go.
I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about you got to do.
I will do both. Yes, I will do Barbieheimer just for you.
Thank you. Good.
That's
really for you.
Is that it?
Really...
Are we done here? Is this
no, it's just I can't handle your fraudness on a Sunday. When I'm looking outside a beautiful lake, I'm seeing people.
You almost made me curse, and then I would.
Good.
Tucker's not answering my text, so I'm gonna have to edit this. I would have to bleep it myself. It would have been so annoying. So bleep you, Jack. Bleep you. All right, buddy.
Well, I'm looking out. Beautiful lake. Phil's won today. Everything's fine. And listen, a 6.5 hour drive turned into a 9 hour drive on the way up here. So looking forward to tomorrow.
Oh God, good luck, buddy. Good luck.
Thanks.
Hopefully it doesn't take too long.
My only goal is I want to get home before first pitch.
Before 6:40. Yeah, that's good. Well, that's why I recorded today and not tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
All right. Everyone wish Jack good luck. We'll be back this week. Until then, he's Fritz and Seltzer.